As someone who has been struggling with a lot of pain in my life, primarily headaches, I'm totally aware that there are different ways people look at this problem. There are some who are primarily focused on the mechanical issues underneath. There are someone who is primarily focused on the maltreatment they received. There is someone who will focus that there was some mechanical activity like a head bump or something which happens to them which is causing the suffering in their adult life. The truth is, the one I discovered, and I'm not saying this is 100% for everyone, but what I've discovered is that there is a very strong relation between the psyche and the mind. There wasn't very thorough research done in the middle and the first part of the 20th century on the psychosomatic diagnosis. And it has been discovered that there are certain character parameters which would define someone's inclination towards fracture of the bone or towards certain heart problems or skin problems. There were a lot of different diseases discussed and analyzed against different types of human behavior. Today, the medical field tried to specialize itself in the medical causes for everything we are seeing today. They are quite good in reading the symptoms and trying to mitigate them, but very rarely do they try to go and reach the core. And the core is primarily a mind in an unrest state, which results in some physical ailment. It doesn't apply to every single sickness there is. I'm fully aware of the wide spectrum of human emotions, life experiences, and the issues we might face. But there is a very high correlation and ratio of what is the mind causing to the body. As we mentioned earlier in the videos about the window of tolerance and the three layers of a brain, we have different ways our body is being run, right? There is a brain which is primarily focused for managing our organs, the reptile one. There is a brain which is focused on getting the emotions, understanding the body and the reality we're in. And there is a part of the brain which is focused on thinking, language, and creativity. And if we are outside of the space where we function the best, the different parts of our brain are ruling. However, when we also mentioned the complex PTSD symptoms, when someone at a very young age is being constantly exposed to a certain scenario, they are being neglected, they are being treated badly, they are being abused, they are being sexually affected, their relation to food is being shown as very unhealthy. There's so many different ways a person can experience the reality during their early years that it will take hours to define them. But you can see the pattern. If you have been made to believe that money is scarce or that no one gets whatever they deserve but only what they steal, if you have been under this impression that no good deed goes unpunished, or the core beliefs you have experienced and encoded in yourself are very deeply embedded in your nervous system. There are those beliefs, the common expressions, the idioms about bending someone's ear, or like in Polish, this translates to drawing someone's head, that when there is a situation in your life which is causing an emotional response, the encoded message in your mind will trigger the body to respond in a certain way. So in my case, when I would be talking to my close ones and I would not know how to express my feelings, I would have this internal sensation that I'm being invalidated or that I'm being judged. I would get this feeling that someone is drawing my head, like someone is numbing my expression and feeling me feel a certain way. I've noticed that day after, 2 days after, my skull and the skin of my skull would turn red, dry, and I would need to use some special steroid cream from the dermatologist to solve this. Until I made this relation from what I was hearing to what my skin behaved conscious, this was happening after usually every single phone call. But once I made this awareness in my being that, okay, there is a need I need to express, and if something I disagree with is being said, I should not feel judged to speak up, and that's okay. We have a right to disagree, and we have a right to change our minds. There's several rights we all have. So once I've learned this truly through my body, this situation stopped happening. The skin became clear from those flares. Another thing I can mention is that with the cluster headaches I've been suffering for many, many years, I've discovered that there are both physical and psychological triggers to my suffering within the body. The pain is real, it can be measured. People unfortunately kill themselves because of this persistence in experienced suffering. This pain is higher than a gunshot and a childbirth, according to many sufferers. But I was very persistent in understanding what was actually happening underneath. And as soon as I was able to distinguish the relation between what was happening outside versus what happens within, I was able to go into the lower level of analysis and see that there are physical and psychological triggers affecting the way my body feels. If something in the surroundings, like a memory of a smell, would trigger the feeling that I'm not good enough, I would have a headache. If someone has said something which I immediately considered like a disapproval or judgment, I would have a headache. Depending on the severity of the situation, from the moment I've experienced this smell or this comment to the moment I've experienced pain could be from 15 minutes to 24 hours. It depends on the severity and how deeply this was hidden within me. There's several others mind and body connections which you possibly have or you are interested about because a lot of people around you might face this. Don't be discouraged. Everything happens for a reason, even if you don't know what it is today and you feel like there is no clear answer. Asking the question is the halfway through it. Stay tuned for more information like this.